Hello everyone, how you doing? Hey. Hi everyone, how you doing? It's another Sunday evening in my neck of the woods, and it's great to be here. So we're gonna be connecting this Sunday. It's good to have everybody join us. For those of you on YouTube, it's great to have you here. For those of you on LinkedIn, always great to have you. For those of you on Facebook, amazing to have you. So we're just gonna give a beat to have everybody join us. It's an amazing day. I'm a bit under the weather, got some flu, but hey, guess what, guys? I'm good, and I'm so glad to be here. So, what has your last week been like? I do believe that today signifies or heralds the beginning of a new week. What was your last week like? And What are the things that you had to deal with? What did you overcome? What didn't you? Today is really going to be a very special episode because we're talking about something there's first of all in my constituency, all right, and something very close to my heart. We're going to be talking about sales, and we talked this episode the science of sales, all right, and I want you to understand that there's little you can do for any business, or any business can do if they're not selling. All right. If they're not selling, there's little that can be done. Absolutely little. So we're going to be looking at sales. I have a very interesting guest that is joining me today. My brother and friend, a few years now. Very interesting guy, and he's been doing the past couple of years. I've sat down and been closely and yet from afar as well, take on certain projects and certain assignments and execute them. I mean, if you ask them, he's one of the most ruthless executors with regards to sales that I know in this time and this space, in this time and this age. Is somebody that you really want to be able to learn from. Before I go further, let me apologize to unfortunately for those that were thinking that they'll be able to meet us or see us live on Instagram. I do apologize. I had said that we will be coming up on Instagram, but unfortunately that can't happen. And so we're streaming live right now as I'm doing the checks even to you. We're streaming live right now on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. All right. So I'm going to be bringing in a super gentleman. I call him TK. His name, his mother calls him Treasure Kalu. Or I call him TK. He's a premium sales and marketing expert who helps corporate organizations, business owners, and personal brands increase their sales revenue so that they can become marketplace leaders. He simply understands the science of all of this. He's listed among the top 100 sales experts to follow on Twitter. All right. As co-founder of the Extreme Excellence Consulting, TK has designed, managed, and facilitated trainings in sales, marketing, team building, customer experience, personal effectiveness, and leadership. Some of the brands he has facilitated trainings for include Axim Answered, Generics Global Pharmaceutical Company, the NPDC, Sterling Bank, Union Bank, amongst others. Is also the CEO. That's TK. Is also the CEO of Tumuku Media, a digital marketing and communication agency that helps businesses, and personal brands significantly increase their brand awareness, online visibility, and access to global markets and audience. As a highly acclaimed conference speaker, Treasure has honored over 200 speaking invitations to faith-based organizations, NGOs, radio stations, TV stations, and of course, universities. Is the author of the 30 Irrefutable Sales Secrets of Jesus and the producer of several audio programs such as The Affirmation for a Remarkable Year. So I'm about to bring in my guest right now, and I'm going to the waiting room to check and see that he's indeed all ready to join me in the studio. So I'm looking, I'm searching, and there he is. We're bringing him right now. Hey, TK, can you hear me? We had a bit of a challenge before we started, but I need to know that I can hear you. Can you hear me? Wow, I still cannot hear TK. Hey, come on, guys. If anyone can hear TK, if Facebook can hear TK, if you can hear TK on Facebook, LinkedIn, on YouTube, please let me know. TK, keep talking while I do a check. I'm going to Facebook right now to check. So let me see how it comes out there. Keep talking while I check. Ooh. Okay, TK. Okay, so I just checked on Facebook as well, and we have an audio challenge here. I really wonder why we can't hear your audio. So we're gonna have to. So to everybody out there, just bear with us. We're gonna sort this out ASAP. I'm gonna have to take TK out of the studio and then have him sign in. So TK, I know you can hear me from the waiting room. Please log out one more time. Let's try that. It usually works. Log out and then log in afresh. All right. So that's TK. That's Treasure Kalu, and amazing brother of mine, amazing friend of mine, and it's going to be joining me. We'll be talking about sales. We'll be talking about marketing, but more importantly, we'll be talking about sales. How to sell? How can you sell more? What are the things that stop you from selling? What are the challenges that you could have with selling? How do you go about creating a template that yields better sales to you? Is sales really stressful? Or does it require a system by which you can sell? Do you have a methodology, a strategy that allows you to be able to sell and just beyond selling? And then the question is, what exactly are you even selling? Are you selling a service, a product, or are you selling an experience? So we're going to be having conversations around all of this. Let me bring TK back in, and then hopefully we're going to have the sound go better. So let me bring TK back into the studio. TK, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Forgive me, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I forgot I was having a bit of cough. I see you just screaming at the top of my lungs. It's I have never felt better hearing your voice. Just so you know.
Thank you
Hey,
for having me.
it's a real pleasure. It's a real pleasure. How have you been? And what have you been up to?
Good. Just taking it one day at a time. We thank God for everything.
Amazing. Amazing. So I read out your profile
I heard
before.
when you read my profile. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
hearing everything.
everything. Yeah. The interesting thing about it was I think about this time last year or so, TK was on the show, was on the Connect. And I actually did a comparison of his profile then and his profile now. And you're wondering whether it's been 1 year or it's been 10 years. Like, you've been you've been really, really busy. Do you want to tell us about that?
Well, 2022 has been a great year for me so far. It's been a year that I would call the year of the career leap. So many things that we were desiring and praying for in the previous years, they just started manifesting in 2022. So
Wow.
all the while, having been on this space for maybe about 7 years or thereabout, my
Yeah.
desire has always been to take my brand to the international stage. Yes,
Mm,
virtually I've been doing that, yeah, but there's something about being there in flesh, physically, you know.
mm,
And this year, God just opened a couple of international doors. This year, I have been to think about three countries internationally. I was
wow.
in Dubai in the UAE in the month of March. Uh, I just got back from Cameroon about 3 weeks ago, and
Yeah.
a few weeks from now, I'm headed somewhere else too. So
It's
it's been amazing, really.
And for me, the interesting thing, right, before we even get into the meat of our conversation, the interesting thing for me is that it is this thing that you're doing, it's still in the line of this passion that you've built a system around that is taking you
Yeah.
across borders. It's not that it's not that you're importing oil. It's not that you're a Dangote cement distributor in Cameroon.
No.
It's still the same value that you put together, that you fine-tuned over the years, that is
Yeah.
taking others. And that for me is remarkable. One of the things that many years ago I prayed for was that it's a blessing, TK, when what you love is what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Such a profound blessing. A lot of people don't have the fortunacy or the ability, first of all, the luck, the grace, to
Yeah.
do that. You understand that everything is in phases and everything is in time. I mean, I'm one advocate that says that sometimes you'll have to do what you have to do before you can
Yeah.
begin to do what you want to do. It's all part of the process. But to finally come to that place where you're recognized for that thing that you love doing, it is what generates a steady and good income. It's what
Yeah.
also opens up an avalanche of doors and opportunity. It's certainly something that is worth celebrating and something that we should be thankful and grateful to God for. TK.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's amazing. All right, so let's get to the meat of the conversation. The science of sales. And I just really want to just have this conversation about selling. Everybody needs to sell. Selling is so important, yet many times it is not really what the right kind of attention is given to. I know a lot of small businesses that, yeah, we will sell. They think the magic is in the product. Some people think the magic is in the channel. Some people think the magic is in the downfall of the competition. Some people pray to God and say, may our clients just, may their hearts just turn. So really, 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 I just want you to just fire on all cylinders from here. We have just about, say, some 45 minutes left. Fire on all cylinders. Selling, I mean, how did you come to this? What opened up your heart, your desire for this? What are the things that you picked up along the way of your journey? I mean, your whole sales experience, whether it is teaching it, whether it is learning it. TK, talk to us.
All right. Good evening, everybody. And thank you, AU, once again for having me. All right. So I'll start with my personal story, my personal journey to the world of sales and marketing. When I started out in the public speaking space, in the human capacity space, I was a generalist. So that means if you called me to teach on leadership, I was there. You call me to teach on customer service, I will come. You call me to preach Bible, I will come. Anyone, anywhere benefits, I was there. So I noticed that I was not getting paid the value that I think I deserved. Because the truth is, specialists will always be paid higher than generalists. That's something somebody should take note of. Specialists will always be paid higher than generalists. That's why we pay much more for specialist hospitals than general hospitals. A specialist medical practitioner will earn much more than a general practitioner. It's a principle across industries. I remember a particular season in my life where I would go to places to speak after sweating a lot, after speaking with so much passion, drenched in sweat. When I was done, they would give me a chill bottle of malt, a piece of meat pie, a tap on the back, and a God bless you. And they said, you blessed our hearts. Some of them will say, okay, send us your account details. We'll get back to you. Until date, I'm still waiting for them to get back to me. Some churches will say, you are going somewhere, brother, but nothing. Remember a particular event where I went to speak and I was given a hamper, very heavy something, and I didn't have a card that time. I was going to take a public bus. How was I going to carry this thing and start moving from place to place? It was just out of courtesy that I collected it. Ideally, I wanted to tell them to keep it because it was inconvenience for me, but that was part of the story. That's part of the journey. So a
Mm,
time came where I started to think within myself, I can't continue this way. If this is what I'm going to use to live my life, if this is where I want to be, then I needed to narrow down to a niche. I had several conversations with a couple of mentors of mine out there. First on the list was Steve Harris, who I've been close to for maybe about 12, 13 years now. So we started talking which area. Then I had to go back in time to my antecedents, my story. And I realized that right from the age of 8, 9, I have been selling as
mm,
early as 8, 9. I have been selling. Growing up, I used to use carton like this to design toy cars. Carton, uh, condemned bathroom sleepers, a, cork of the crown cork of bottles and all that. I would design toy cars and I would shade them in front of our compounds for parents to come and buy for their children. And I remember then we were
wow,
still using coins. Parents will give me 10 kobo, 20 kobo. They will be buying these things for their children. So that's how I got my first experience of selling that. Oh, so you can actually exchange a product for money. Then moving on at a point in my life, I was still less than 10. Then I lived with my grandmother in the village. And I remember once selling tomatoes for her, hawking tomatoes actually, you know. And I can remember the joy that I felt that I went out to sell something and I sold out. I came back with an empty tray and with money in my hand, you know. So
with
that's
joy.
how I've been progressing. Then professionally, I started selling as an undergraduate. I got hired on a part-time basis by a company that was into GMAT material production, interviewing production, everything job said help that niche. So I would take their materials to NYSC camps. I mean, as an undergraduate, I was going to NYSC camps to train core members, though they had no idea that I was still an undergraduate. It was about the knowledge. It was about how I carried myself.
TK, I've heard that story a lot of times. I've read it also, you've written about it. And every time I come across that narrative, I laugh with because here you are. I mean, people that have just come through a process that you are in, and then
Yeah,
you have a package value. They are
yeah,
all sitting down and listening to you. Trust me. It's also something we will have a conversation about. If your presentation was, I'm an undergraduate to talk to you, you will probably
yeah,
have lost part of the audience. But your
yeah,
presentation was, I have something of value to you. At that
yeah,
point, it did not matter whether you were an undergraduate or whether you were
yeah.
a postgraduate. The first thing that you gave to them was come and have an experience with the value I'm bringing
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say that for someone's benefit. All right, please go ahead.
All right. No, it's really all about packaging, all about knowledge. I was the courage I had, even when I was done, some of the NYC officials they would ask me questions like, when is your flight back? Lots of courage. As at that time, I had never boarded an airplane. I would give them a date. It's me that know the flights that I will board. There are different kinds of flights. You know, because even when I was done, some of those NYC camps, I would, in fact, that was what brought me to Akwa Ibom State for the first time. My friend who sent James would accompany me to NYC camps. He can testify that in some of the NYC camps, I would sell as much as 250, 300,000 naira from materials because my presentation would be so compelling, and then putting in my sales skills into it, bringing in the element of scarcity and urgency, You see
Yeah.
people rushing these materials that our leaf camp sometimes 250K, 300K. So that's how I started. Then, when I was narrowing down my niche, I now chose sales and marketing. So I had to really take a lot of trainings formally. I did a lot of trainings under Brian Tracy,
Yeah.
undoubtedly one of the leading sales authorities globally. So
Wow.
that period of I took like a year. I was consuming anything sales and marketing for a period of 1 year. Then after yes, I had some field experience, but now to teach it, I needed some experience too. So a lot of learning. Then I started using Twitter to teach on sales and marketing. Every Sunday evening like this, I would tweet using the hashtag unlimited sales
Mm.
consistently. Everything sales on my Twitter handle. And within that first year, I was listed amongst the top 100 sales experts to follow on Twitter. And it was by a foreign rating body. I didn't even know how they tracked me and all that I was doing. But why I
Yeah.
took it seriously was when I checked the other people on the list, I was seeing people that had 1.2 million followers, verified accounts. So I knew this was something really
You
serious.
know, nothing
And I
serious.
was on that list like 3 different times, yeah, within that same year.
But let me jump in, right? Let me jump in because I like the way this conversation is going, and there are things I just want to highlight all through. So there's always that point of you're building, you have a footprint, right?
Yeah,
You're selling, you've been selling, and then you now realize that wow, this thing that I'm doing, not everybody seems to be able to do it.
yeah,
If first realization, then this thing that I'm doing, not everybody seems to be able to do it in the way that I do it that gets the kind of results that I would get.
yeah,
So you now come to a point where something inside you kicks in, and that's the part of purpose, right? Where something kicks in and says, "This gift is not just for you. You must
yeah,
be able to replicate yourself in others." So
yeah,
that point, that's that. I want us to have a conversation about that point where it occurred to you that wait, I can teach this. I can, many people can do things, but they can't teach it.
yeah,
You understand what I'm saying? So
yeah.
when it came to you and it occurred to you that wait a minute, I can teach this. What was that whole experience for you like?
Well, the truth is, from childhood, I've always known that I was a teacher.
Mm,
Teaching is my number one calling. So I can teach about anything. If I understand any concept, I can teach it very well. In fact, there was a time that I was focused on relationship. I was a good relationship teacher. But at some point, I jumped out of it because it was giving me unnecessary attention, which I didn't want. And ironically, I was teaching relationship and helping people succeed in relationship, but my own relationships then were not succeeding. So I said I was no more doing again. But for sales and marketing, the truth
yeah.
is, I needed a niche that was highly profitable. If you're operating from Nigeria, you cannot just wake up and choose any niche just basically out of passion alone. Passion is good, but you want to ensure that passion can also be profitable, especially when you're starting out, when you don't have other strong streams of income yet. Yeah, not that you have a company that is highly profitable and you just want to give expression to your passion. But now this was me, a young graduate. I've tried to look for jobs. I didn't really get a good job, you know, and I needed a niche that was profitable. And in Nigeria, the top profitable niches are number one, sex, relationship, money, especially anything that can help people make money. Nigerians love it because in the Maslow hierarchy of needs, most Nigerians are still at the bottom. They are still at the survival level. So anything that can help the average Nigerian make money to get better, they will embrace it. I also discovered that it was a strong need in organizations, because most sales executive in organizations, they were not really performing well. Yeah, in fact, most people dread sales and marketing. People will tell me, TK, I'm looking for a job. Can you help me? I see you do corporate trainings. Can you talk to any of your HR managers that you have connection with? Then they will give me a disclaimer. They'll say, I don't want sales and marketing. No, I don't want. I cannot meet targets. So there's that phobia for sales and marketing. And I saw a gap there based on my passion, based on my track record. I knew that this was my thing. And as soon as I got started, it didn't even take so much time before I started getting corporate jobs. In fact, one of the companies that I had really wanted to work with when I was still job hunting, I was shocked the day that the CEO of that company sent me a DM on Twitter and said, I've been following your tweets on sales and marketing, and you're really good. You really seem very knowledgeable in this area. And she asked me, what would it take for you to come and train our sales team? Then I knew I was getting something right. For a company that I had wanted to work for as an employee to start having a conversation with me on training, then I knew
Yeah.
I was getting something right. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. 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 And you know, that's very interesting. Let me give you a scenario. Many years ago, when I was in the banking sector, right? There were a couple of organizations that we used to have relationship with, because as a bank you have all sorts of relationship with different kinds of clients and all of that. And as at the time when I was thinking of transiting, I thought to myself that perhaps I should, you know, move to one of such companies still in the finance sector, and then operate differently from commercial banking or banking as we know it in Nigeria. It's still banking, but it's investment banking rather than retail banking as we know it in Nigeria. And at
Yeah.
that point in time, there were one or two things. And they were like, you know what, you know, we're going through something, something. Bottom line, it didn't happen. Fast forward a few years later, I am flying cross country for a 45-minute session of opening a retreat for the same company. And I mean, this is all expense paid. My appearance fee has been paid up front. Everything has been sorted. The same people that at that point in time, because you know, and there are a whole lot of factors around this. I just wanted to say that I also
Yeah.
have a story to you. Yes, of course, maybe perhaps at that time, you know, the value was not being communicated properly, because I say to people many times that it's good to have value. You have value. You have God gave everybody a gift. You have a gift. But you have a skill. You've actually even been trained. But if you can't communicate value, then you can't sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you can't communicate value, you can't sell. So there's a difference between having value, and then there's the king of the, you know, the ring, where you learn to communicate value. So perhaps at that point in time, the value was not being communicated as such. Bottom line is that there are certain, which brings me to the next question I'm coming to. There are certain processes that lead to sales being closed. Now, there was a time that you were trying to get a job in a company. That's you like prospecting. You were trying to sell yourself at that time. It's
Yeah.
still the same. It's still the same you were trying to sell.
Yeah.
But only this time you were trying to sell yourself as an employee, suitable
Yeah.
employee. In the course of what you were doing, you were communicating your ability to be a solution provider.
Yeah.
And so now it's the same you. Trust me, the same you, but the receiving of your messaging was significantly different.
Yeah.
So now they are reaching out to you to say, man, this is amazing. We need you to come in and do something for us. The same people that didn't think it was okay to give you an offer letter and have you take a small corner office and resume
Yeah.
an 8 out of 5. So let's talk about from that initial point to the sales, to the closing the deal, and the experience thereafter. Let's talk about what it takes. And then let me start, let me get that going with a question I ask everybody around the world. By the way, guys, let me expose him. TK said I should not ask him jam question. He told me today that don't ask me jam question. I've exposed him. All right. So I'm still going to ask TK this question. And he will, in his answer, it's a learning curve for everybody. It's a question I ask people everywhere I go. What are you selling? Are you selling a product? Are you selling a service? Are you selling a solution? Or are you selling an experience? So, TK, go ahead.
All right, so I will start by defining selling or sales in my own terminology. All right, because if you don't understand what selling is all about, like in mathematics, we say definition from first principles. If you don't understand the first principles, you'll be lost in the maze. So, what is selling? And I don't give the conventional textbook dictionary definition of selling, because if you go by that, you would not be doing selling the right way. Selling, as I define it, is your ability to convince a prospect that the value he will derive from your product or service far outweighs the price that you have to pay. Your ability to convince a prospect that the value he will derive from your product or service is far higher than the price that he has to pay. If you can make this, if you can cross this bridge, the question of is too expensive will not even come into play in the first place. So selling in a nutshell is an exchange of value. It's an exchange of value. So how do we now, how do we derive value? How do we extract value? Now you look, let me give an illustration. Somebody that buys this pen that I'm holding here. If you are buying a pen, you are not just buying a pen. What can this pen do for you? With this pen, people have signed multi-billion-dollar contracts. So it's not just a pen, it's a gateway to a multi-billion-dollar contract. So if I'm selling you a pen, I'm selling you not a pen. I'll tell you I'm selling you a gateway to multi-billion-dollar contracts. For those of us that are married, both of us are married here. Without this pen, we couldn't have signed the dotted line. So let's assume that on our wedding day, after all the paparazzi, it was time to sign the certificate and there was no pen anywhere. And we sent somebody into the town and they drove around town everywhere. We can't find pen. All the shops are closed. Guy, that wedding would not have been validated in spite of all the paparazzi. So you see,
it means that this thing that we see as just a regular pen, because it's ubiquitous, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. There are like 4 on this table right now, and I want to pay attention to the fact that there are 4 around me right now. At the time of scarcity, it becomes, and I'm not trying to get ahead of you, as if they do every local palace, as if they do me, now they talk out. And TK is always taking me on about my pigeon, but we'll deal with that later. So at the time of wait, hold on.
Somebody say we can use marker too.
Can use marker to sign. Chiamaka, you use thumbprint. Thumbprint. All right, we will use thumbprint to sign. But because there is a scarcity, there's a significant increase in perceived value of that thing. Now, you said something. Selling is an exchange of value. Now, because I see that this pen, we're still on the pen thing, and you're blowing my mind right now, TK. Because I see that the pen has become scarce, I am ready to exchange value that can deliver that scarcity, that scarce product to me. The premium that I placed on the pen when it was ubiquitous, when it was everywhere, is significantly less than the premium I have in my mind placed want that pen when
Yeah.
I need it. Urgency and scarcity.
Yeah. 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 A vivid example is during the COVID lockdown, we saw how even face masks that are normally sold for, I think, 100 naira. In some places, they were being sold for 5,000 naira, you
Oh,
know. So,
oh.
where I was going to is beyond what you sell, look at the value. Look at the value. Yeah, that is that value you communicate. It's not the product itself. So everybody that wants to sell well needs to sit down and say, what is the real value in this product that I'm selling? So for
Okay.
example, somebody,
Hey, TK, sorry, let me pause you and I do apologize.
yeah,
No, sorry, really don't apologize. But let me just pause you for a while.
yeah,
I want everybody online, right? I want you to, I asked a question at the beginning of this conversation with TK, of this section. And I said, what are you selling? Are you selling a product, a service, a solution, or an experience? I want everybody, Emmy, Chiamaka, and every other person, those on LinkedIn as well. I'm monitoring everything on my portal. Type in what you're selling. Is it or what you think you are selling, or what you see people sell, or what you buy? Are you selling a product, all right, or a service? Think carefully about it now, or a solution, or an experience. Let me ask TK, so please just type your answers. I want, hey, how are you? You went on the date with daddy. You left mommy and my guy, and then you went on dates with daddy yesterday. I saw you. I saw you. I saw you on Facebook.
right, see you later. Okay.
Also, so everybody, do me that favor and that honor. Go ahead and type in the comment section: product, service, solution, or experience. TK, over to you.
All right. So whilst we are looking out for the answers, Mr. Paul, how are you doing? Well done. All right. So you must be able to answer this question. Yeah. What do you say? What's the value? So I was going to give an example. Somebody who spent 500,000 naira or 1.5 million naira to buy a handbag. The person is not just looking for something to put articles into. Somebody who spent hundreds of millions to buy an automobile, say a Range Rover or a G-Wagon, he's not looking for transportation. There's something else he's looking for, status. So
Mm,
that leads me to buying triggers. Buying triggers are the fundamental human reasons people buy. And I'll list some of the fundamental buying triggers. Number one, money. People are looking for anything that will help them save more money and make more money. Number two, status. Something that separates them from the crowd. Something that makes them to feel like to other people will not be mates. You know, I drove my car into a certain place, and I'm not really using a bad car, but it's just that the kind of cars that were parked there, they were way higher. And I could notice the intentionality by which the security guys told me where to park. They didn't want me parking next to the G-Wagon. In my mind, I said, I don't blame you people. You that is telling me where to park, you don't have anyone. So for any product you are selling and whoever you are selling to, you must be able to determine what's the primary motive for buying that product. What's the pain point? Every product is designed to solve a pain point. And the pain point could just be something very flimsy. It must not be something serious. See, people don't buy their needs, they buy their wants. Let me explain.
mm, mm,
People don't buy their needs, they buy their wants. So let me explain.
mm,
If you bring a young Nigerian graduate today He just finished secondary school, and ideally he should go into the university. And you ask him right now, oh, I want to send you, say, to Covenant University. Yeah, that's what he needs, right?
Mm.
Ideally, send you to Covenant University. I'll pay your school fees. I'll sponsor you scholarship. Number two, I want to send you to Canada to work in a restaurant. You work as a service boy in a restaurant. You won't go to school in Canada. You work in a restaurant. You and I know that which one would they choose, the average person?
The guy has
They
packed
will,
his load. He's in the drive. He's in the pilot's cockpit already. He's not even taking a seat in the plane. He's in the cockpit.
exactly. But you and I would naturally feel that it's the education he needs. That's the need. But people buy their wants because people make buying decisions. Everybody take note of this. People make buying decisions emotionally and they justify them logically. So it's an emotional impulse. Forget all those explanations. When they have made that emotional decision, they will not look for logic to explain it to make them appear intelligent. So, like the guy who chose Canada instead of university, we say, he will tell you something like, do you know after 5 years in Canada, I can become a citizen? He will even tell you something like, do you know the Canadian passport is heavier than the Nigerian PhD? He will start looking for all sorts of explanation for that, you know. So you must know the buying triggers of the product that you are selling. That brings me to another concept, and this is where a lot of people miss it. Who is your ideal customer? Who is your ideal customer? For
What?
every product, there is an ideal customer. So the question I love to ask in my training and coaching sessions is, if in the whole world you were to have only one customer, there's a certain bank in Nigeria that is their slogan, the one customer bank. If in the whole wide world you are to have only one customer, who would that person be? You need to find out who that person is and begin to speak the language of that person. And there is a simple exercise that you can use to determine that. We call it your customer avatar. Your customer avatar is a semi-fictional representation of who your ideal customer is. And in designing your customer avatar, you consider the demographics and the psychographics of your customer. Under demographics, you talk about who your customer is. So what's the name? You give the person a name, actually, the name of the person, the age of the person, the location of the person, the income bracket of the person, you know, the marital status of the person. All those are demographics. Then when you come to psychographics, you talk about things like the goals of the person, the motivation, the fears of the person, the pain points, and all of this. When you bring all of this together, you have your customer avatar. So you can come up with a customer avatar. There's a proposal that I did for a client. Let me open it on my laptop quickly and read a customer avatar. So I wrote a proposal to a certain client that wanted us to come design, to come actually drive a marketing solution for them. So in the proposal, I wrote the customer avatar for the product. It was a tech product, an app actually. So I wrote a customer avatar. Look at this. I wrote meet Usman. I said Usman is an eligible bachelor. He's 31 years old. He's a property lawyer. He runs an estate management firm. He works long hours and often works late. So he never has time to check to know what he needs to buy. Usman lives in Wuse in Abuja, but he works in Maitama. He drives a Mercedes-Benz ML350 2015 model. His primary concern is how to get steady supply of groceries because this product is actually using an app to sell groceries, really. You get steady supply of groceries and complete home and kitchen stock without having to worry about the details. Usman is social media savvy and he spends most of his time on Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. He shops on e-commerce websites like Jumia, Konga, and Amazon. So I have put a vivid picture to the person that this product is designed to reach. I also did another one for a female. Yeah. So this is what everybody who wants to succeed in sales and marketing must sit down to do. Now you might ask me, how do I get the data? If you're already in business, you can check the trajectory of your business so far. You can check the kind of people that have been patronizing you. You begin to get clues. For me, I notice that my customers are primarily women. Women patronize me more. Right now, I just finished a group coaching, a 7-day group coaching, yeah, for people in Nigeria and Cameroon. We had about 16 women and 4 men. And it has been like that for most of my products. Most of these women, for me, they are between the ages of 28 and 35. Yeah. None of them earns anything less than 250K monthly. Most of them are single ladies. So I've been able to design my customer avatar. So when I'm putting on my marketing message, I know the language to speak. I know how to address their pain points. I know how to speak to their goals, their aspirations, their motivation. All right. So everybody here, you need to learn how to design your customer avatar, and it's very simple. Just go on Google, type customer avatar template. You will get a template, download it, answer the questions, and you'll be able to come up with your customer avatar. Yeah, so that is very important. So I've defined selling, I've mentioned your buying triggers, and I've mentioned who your ideal customer is. Now let me take you into the sales process. Listen, selling is a process. The stage where you finally exchange money for value is just a step in the selling process. But a lot of people, they just focus on that part. That's why they miss it. Because first and foremost, people love to buy, but they hate to be sold to. I say that again. People love to buy, but they hate to be sold to. So when it looks like you are the one coming to sell, when it looks like you imagine somebody coming and say, I want to sell, immediately somebody uses the word sell on you. You build a subconscious wall of resistance around you. So instead of saying selling, use the word help. So you must understand, selling really is helping. Selling is helping your prospects make a better buying decision. So you must always present it like you are just there to help them make a better buying decision. Not that you came to convince them, not that you came to run a sales script on them. You will talk and finish all the saliva in your mouth. They will not buy from you because people don't like it when it looks like you want to use them as mumu in quotes. Do you understand? So what's the sales process like? The first step in the sales process, ideally, is prospecting. Prospecting, if I put it in another word, is marketing. By the way, there's a huge difference between sales and marketing. A lot of people are better at marketing, but poor at selling. But they mistake both to mean the same thing. No, marketing is totally different. Let me illustrate so that you know the difference between sales and marketing. Marketing is calling the crowd to the door of the room. So marketing is like casting the net into the sea. When you cast the net into the sea, you are not going to catch all the fishes in the sea. That is marketing. Selling is catching the fish into the net. Marketing is calling the crowd to the door. But sales will not bring the qualified people into the room. So let's say you are in a conference. Let's say Mr. Anieka and I are hosting a conference, and he's the speaker representing our company, and he's speaking. We want to generate leads, and then I'm at the back of the hall with registration forms. Those of you who work in banks, you do it. You go to conferences and maybe your marketing manager or your HR manager will go and talk about your product, the product of your company, or your business manager. And then there will be somebody at the back of the hall with the sign-up forms. Your sales manager or your marketing manager is marketing. The guys that people will have to walk up to now get explanation, that will not be given the form, that will tell them the different product categories and what they do. Those people are the sales people. So whilst marketing is about gathering leads, sales is about converting the leads to buying customers. But a lot of us, we just market, we just share the word, brand awareness, but we are not converting. And we wonder why we are not converting. Say, I'm working real hard, I'm working real hard. No, you are just marketing. You are not converting. So how do you sell? Number one, prospecting. Another word for prospecting is marketing. This is when you gather leads. After prospecting, the goal of prospecting is to sell an appointment. In prospecting, you find out if that is the right time to have a sales conversation. If it's not the right time, never be desperate. This is where a lot of people miss it. You are so desperate that you want to make your sales presentation immediately you have the opportunity. There are even times that somebody says, oh, can you tell me about it? You say, no, this thing is so unique. It's so life-changing. It's so life-transforming. I mean, it has literally transformed the life of tens and hundreds of people that I cannot even discuss it in a rush because I notice that you are busy right now. So can we fix an appointment? When will you have time, even if it's 10 minutes of your time, for me to give you the details? Prospecting. Number two, building rapport. People will only buy from you if they know you, if they like you, and if they trust you. You must become likable. This is where you build rapport. And listen, you have about 30 seconds to build instant rapport. If you cannot connect with a prospect within the first 30 seconds, the sale is lost. That's why packaging is very important. I remember a certain corporate client that I closed some years ago. The rapport started with my shoes. I walked into the manager's office and he said, I love your shoes. Where did you buy them? Where can I get them? That's how the conversation started. And we talked literally about shoes, fashion for almost 20 minutes before we started talking about what I came for. But the rapport was already built and it was really friendly. All right, excuse me, guys. So building rapport is number two. Then number three is booking of appointments. So it's when you have built rapport that you can ask, okay, when can we talk about this? And all of these things can happen in 5 minutes. Booking appointment. Ensure that the person is ready to hear you. Not that I'm doing product presentation for you. I'm talking, you are writing. You are not listening to me. And I have come with something that can literally change your life. You must pay attention. We must maintain eye contact. So when you book appointment and the appointment is fixed, the next step is now product presentation. Another place where a lot of people miss it is they don't know their product. And this is one thing that I have discovered in training corporate sales executive. You tell them, okay, tell me about your product. They are just stammering. And I usually give an assignment. I say, go and study your product like you are preparing for JAM. Underline, asterisk. Put yourself in the shoes of the prospect. Ask yourself, if I were the prospect, what kind of question would I ask about this product? You study like you want to write a PhD exam from it so that you become a don in your product presentation, because it's how you present it. See, selling is a transfer of enthusiasm. If you are presenting your product and I cannot feel your vibration, I cannot feel your excitement, I cannot buy it. But there's a way you'll be so excited about it that you literally subconsciously transfer that emotion into me, and you set me on vibration, and you trigger the buying signal in me. And before you know it, I'm interested, I'm listening intensely. So product presentation is next. After product presentation, the next step is answering objections. Objections are not bad. Objections are indicative that the prospect is interested in your product. When we were in school, the lecturers that we didn't like, when they finish their lecture and they say, do you have any question? You and I know that we didn't have any question because we're not interested. So somebody who has a question in form of an objection, he actually has some interest in your product. So objections are indicative that you have not given me yet enough information for me to make the buying decision. So you answer all of the objections. They could be about the price, money, time, lack of interest. Yes. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, sir. Is your mic on mute? I can't hear you. Okay, I should go out. Still can't hear you. Maybe I have to leave altogether. I still can't hear you. Maybe you need to. Oh, technology.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so I had to do a reboot. Okay, so amazing. First of all, let me just start by saying amazing comments I'm seeing here. TK, I don't know if you can put up the comments from a section. I had to do a refresh, but I'm seeing amazing comments here. I was going to talk about the objections in a bit, but let me just read a comment that came in a little while ago. I think it was from Triple A, Adebola Atiba. And I don't know if you can see it on your end. I can't see it on my end anymore, TK, so you can read it out. But before that, let me talk a bit about the objections. TK, I like and I respect what you said about objections, all right? And the fact that objection is indicative that the prospect is interested in you. Much more than that, people. Objections show that the prospect is considering what you have presented and how it fits into his circumstance, his
Yeah,
budget, his purchasing power. And so he's
yeah,
trying to find what can be tinkered.
yeah,
Is this enough for me to spend more than I will normally will spend? It's a very good place to be, but it's
yeah,
also a place where if you do not turn on and increase the quality of communication of value, you will lose them at that point. It's also a very dicey point because what they've done is, I like what you say. I want to open up my war chest to accommodate this. Give me a reason. Tell
yeah,
me
yeah,
subconsciously what they say to you is, tell me why I
yeah,
should spend this amount when I
Yeah.
didn't need to? Tell me
Yeah.
why I should put this project on hold because this is and one way that without getting ahead of TK, one way that that happens is when you begin to communicate benefits over feature.
Yeah.
So at that point, he's not interested in the features anymore.
Yeah.
He's not interested. At that
Yeah.
point, he's interested in the benefit or the value that what you're bringing provides to him. How?
Yeah.
What problem is this solving for him?
Yeah.
What is it getting done earlier, easier? What? How does this make things cheaper for him? And cheaper is not that is little money. Cheaper is that look, everybody wants value. Even the man that pays premium for gold,
Yeah.
once you
Yeah.
know that you pay the best price for gold, and you will have paid more because he's smarter than you.
Yeah.
So there's comparative analysis when it comes to the idea of objection. And the objection
Yeah.
is the client telling you, I like what you've said, but I am not quite sure how this fits into my operations. Your responsibility as a seller is to now show him. That's why I say it's not a product that you're selling. And I'm already answering the questions I asked at the beginning. Because products are ubiquitous. Like if I buy a product here, I buy a product from somewhere else. One of the great TK, do you know that one of the greatest advantages that I have in my industry is my ability to teach?
Yeah.
So that even whilst I'm talking to you, I'm even telling you about your golf game. I don't play golf, but I'm telling you about from principle. Life is hinged on principles, isn't it? My
Yeah.
ability to teach is what makes me command your listening to what I want you to listen to. So, what then happens, guys? And this is it. I'll hand over to TK very soon. What then happens is when that objection is raised, if you do not go in to provide clarity, underline that word. If you don't go in to provide direction, clarity comes from light, direction from the sound of voice. And if you don't go in to create a connect, a bridge, that's why many times I tell people that my purpose in life is three things. It's one thing broken into three phases: LVB, light, voice, bridge. If you don't go in to create a connect, a bridge that takes them from the gray area that they are to the area of precision, they will close the gate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or worse, what you will have done is that you've gotten them thinking they will look for who can do it better, cheaper, and deliver value to them. So you have to seal it. TK, go ahead, please. I just need to jump in and throw that an objection.
Right.
But TK,
So,
it's tearing us up right here, isn't it? It's tearing
all
us
right.
up.
So, like I said, I saw objections are indicating that the prospect has some interest. Even though in sales and marketing, there's what we call gorilla dusts. What is gorilla dust? You know, gorilla from the ape family. Uh, how did they coin that term? When two gorillas in the jungle, when they want to engage in a fight, one of the things that they do first is that they will pack sand from the ground and toss sand into the air to make a lot of dust in the air
Mm.
to block visibility. All right. So in sales and marketing, gorilla dust are the fake objections that prospects give. The kind of objections they give because they want to politely excuse you. So let me give one very common example. I would think about it. Let me think about it. The truth is, nobody ever goes to think about whatever you told him. Nobody will get home and say, okay, hey, Mr. TK just told me about buying his sales program. And should I buy it? Nobody. People are too busy. In fact, attention span is so low that as soon as the person is walking away from you, he has even forgotten that he had a conversation with you in the first place. So it's a fake objection. It's called gorilla dust. Another one is let me ask my wife or let me ask my husband. Most times they don't get to ask those people that they say let them ask. So when you get such objections, how do you tackle them? This is what I do, and this is what I advise. If somebody said, "Let me get back to you," I would say something like, "In my experience in sales and marketing, in conversing with hundreds of people in several industries, I have come to realize by experience that when somebody says, 'Let me think about it,' the person actually has a concern. The person has an explanation that he has not understood very well.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm here for you. So tell me your concern. And by the way, you are not obligated to buying this product. Always make it known that you are not desperate to have them buy. See, desperation will take power from you. But when you present it like whether they buy or not, your life goes on. And in fact, there are hundreds of people waiting to buy the same product, they will pay more attention. This is where using the element of scarcity comes into play. Even if that person is the first person that is about to buy your product, use words like, "People are buying this thing." They are buying this thing in your mind, and you know they are going to buy. It's when they hear things like that, they don't want to carry last. They will jump on it. Use the element of scarcity. You can use words like, "The price is currently, say, 50,000 naira. In another 7 days, it goes to 65,000 naira." Or, "This discount is only for 2 days." So, for example, whenever I put out my marketing offers, maybe I have a coaching program or an online course, maybe I do a free webinar and I do a call to action, I put out the offer. I always do what I call the fast action bonus. So, if the product, for example, is 100,000 naira, I will say the first 10 people, maybe a Zoom class of 200 people, I will say the first 10 people, that is scarcity already. The first 10 people that will make payment within the next 12 hours, latest by tomorrow 12 noon, instead of paying 100,000 naira, you will pay 75,000 naira. Woo, see the whooping discount. And then you will see immediately, so when you compare the price difference, you see the surge. Everybody wants to even jump on that offer. Yeah. So that's one of the ways you break procrastination, because man by nature loves to procrastinate, even when he knows that this thing will change his life forever. He feels that he still has more time and there's no need to rush. So objection also, when you are treating objection, the goal is not to prove that you are smarter. Yeah.
TK, sorry, let me just jump in again. You have to forgive me for interjecting, right? When you talk about fast action bonus, I'll just give you an example. I'll just give you a story. So during 2020 was COVID era, or well, active lockdown, not COVID era because it's still all and about active lockdown era. And the nature of business at that time, everything had shuttered down. That was really when I came online. That's when I started doing things online. As a matter of fact, as you probably already know, that was when the Connect, what we're doing right now, was birth. It was during the COVID. It's been on since 2020, every Sunday. Amazing, right?
Wow.
So there was I needed to have a clarity session. Now, by that time, I already had a lot of people that had been sending in messages. I'd like to have a session with you. I like this, I like that. And I was like, look, before I tear myself into 300 places, and you people will still not be satisfied, let me have people come together and then I take a session. There's no problem that is uncommon to your problem is his problem. In
Yeah.
fact, you know his problem because your problem is his problem on steroids. So you need to learn his problem, and he needs to. So I said, let's have a class. So at that point in time, this was in the height of COVID. Everybody was looking at their finances and all of that. I knew the value. Again, that's something else, and I'm sure that some point when I had to step out to do one or two things, you must have touched on it. Or knowing, and that's the part that I heard TK say, knowing the product. You don't just know the product for the sake of the product. You know the product for the value it delivers. You're being convinced of the value reflects in what you say, in what you do. It
Yeah.
reflects in the passion and the energy with which you come to the table. Your being
Yeah.
convinced of this value gives you expression as to what that value can deliver, meaning that you will be able to see multifaceted ways that you can have, and stuff. So I knew the value that I was going to have for people to have a whole weekend with me. And we're looking at clarity, we're looking at how to, nascent businesses, rebuilding your businesses, going back to work and all of that, and then all the different people. So I said, you know what? We're going to have a session, masterclass. So we had one of the masterclass series, The Journey to Mastery, which is one of my hallmark brands. So I said that we're going to have the Journey to Mastery class. And I really just want 40 people, nothing more. It's virtual, but I don't want more than 40 people. It's $200. All right. It's $200. The class will hold in exactly 3 weeks from now, but payment stops a week from now. TK, in 17 hours, in 17 hours, 40 people had paid. And then there were now people that were ready to pay more to upseat people that already got in their seats. I juxtaposed that with another event that I did a little while back. And I was like, even till the last day, you can pay. That last day, I was thinking of, oh my God, I have to give this guy an upfront. I have to, because monies that I thought will come in didn't come in, because it was at the very last minute. People, Shebi, that means you, Nigerian balance, Shebi, you gave us till the last day. So the last day is when we'll show up. And that show up service, by that time, you maybe just open the door and we'll come in. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what we did in that time, all right, what we did in that time was to ensure that, hey, in a period of 17 hours, the class was paid up for. 40 people, $200. Calculate how much that is. It was paid up for. I don't know how much you heard, TK. I don't know how much you heard before you were out.
Yeah, I heard what you said. Yeah.
Yeah.
In
So
17 hours. Oh, this thing is freezing. Am I okay now? Can you hear me well now?
okay, now I can hear you clearly.
Okay.
It's like
Okay.
I said, 17 hours it was sold out. And
Yeah.
then we had to put another 11 people on a waiting list. And this just kept going on and on and on and on and on and on and that. Why? Because there was a fast action. This was not even a bonus. This was just a case of, I will close this door. So urgency was what was created here, guys, so that you understand. When you say fast action bonus, it's not that you necessarily in all things have to give a bonus or a discount.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, you have to create a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
People are
a sense of urgency. Yeah.
People have a lot of lethargy. People sometimes can be very laid back and very complacent when it comes to certain things and will not move. And the reason why this is important, the reason why urgency is so important, let me say this before I hand over to TK. And I put up a video on Instagram yesterday. All right. For those of you that are not following me on Instagram, you need to. And you need to follow TK as well. Because this dude here drops a lot of nuggets. I put up a video on Instagram. I'm not sure it was the full thing I put up. But there was a part where I said, guys, listen. You're not... Why is urgency important? Because you're not competing against the guy that is selling what you're selling. You're not competing against the guy that is selling something close to what you're selling. No. Guess what? Get ready for this. This will blow your mind. You are competing against every single thing your prospect spends money on. Every single thing. So you're dealing in phones and mobile devices. The money that prospect will have used to buy phone and mobile devices, on his way home, he remembers baby food.
Yeah.
So You think you're competing against the next guy, Emeka, that is selling phones? No, you're competing against school fees. You're competing against jeans. You're competing against eat out. You're competing against cinema dates. You're competing against everything. So you need urgency to be able to keep people focused. The idea is this: you must keep people focused. You must get people to make you their priority. And what's a priority, guys? A priority is not what you feel good about. A priority is not necessarily what you like. What is priority is what you can't do without. My question is, do your clients feel like they can't do without you? Do the prospects get an impression that without you, certain things don't go well with them? Because until you're able to bring your prospects that level of dependency, of them prioritizing you, let me bring TK back in, of them prioritizing you, then you won't be able to create a sense of urgency. The idea of scarcity and urgency is one word: priority. That they prioritize you. Because if they don't prioritize you, if you like, shout from today till tomorrow, they will spend the money on what they consider to be priority, whether it's a want or a need. It doesn't matter. But as long as they consider it to be priority, that's what people will spend money on. The question is, are you your prospect's priority? Tiki, are you back? Wow. Looks like we are having I hope everybody heard everything I said. I hope I'm not talking too much. Looks like we're having some network glitch or something. I can't seem to connect with TK. I see him on my screen, but it's a bit frozen. We're 70 minutes past the hour. Oh my goodness. We haven't even done a quarter of the things I wanted us to talk about, because this is so. How many people thought talking about sales will be this elaborate? And trust me, like I said, we haven't even done a quarter. There's so much that we want to be able to share with you, so much understanding that you have, so that even as a buyer, you can make better choices. And as someone who is selling, you know the how, the ABCs, you know the why, you know the how, as to how to get it done. Because you wonder why one person is able to sell, and it's not necessarily about the product. Another aspect that is extremely important, TK back. Another aspect that is extremely important is the channel. So you have the product on one side, and then you have the channel. Now, it was Vusi Tembukwayo that said, "Look, let the man with a great product, but an average channel, not think that he's better than with the man with an average product but a great channel. The man with an average product but a great channel will sell more and sell faster than the man with a great product but an average channel." So what's your channel? What's your channelization strategy? How does your product get around? How do your services get around? How do people reach you? How do they connect with you? How do they find you? How do they relate with you? What's your turnaround time? What's your turnaround time? What's your feedback time? What kind of experience do they get with you? And I'm answering all the questions I asked at the beginning. What kind of experience? What do they remember when they hear your name and they see your brand? When they have reason to share with someone else about you, what's the first emotion that comes to you, that comes to them? Dependable, or man, those guys, if you don't know somebody there, you're dead or you're finished though. Those guys, I like their logo, but I wish their service was like their logo. Okay, what experience? But TK is back. I'm glad TK is back. TK, we have 10 minutes. We have 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I don't know, maybe we're going to find time and come back again, but we have 10 minutes, my brother. Let's wrap up at 8:30. And apologies to everybody that wants us to go on. I'm reading all your comments. We'll find a way around it, all right? But TK, just bring this home. Bring this home. You have 10 minutes. Let me just leave you for the next 10 minutes. Bring this home.
I didn't get it. What did you say?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay,
yes.
So I said we have 10 minutes left. So much to say. I just want you to just bring this home in 10 minutes. I'm just going to leave you to bring this home in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, bringing it home in 10 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, um, if you want to be successful at selling, you must enjoy the journey more than the destination. Stop focusing on just closing. Your eyes are on the figures. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, the sales conversation, the objections, the booking of the appointment. Because listen, a man who loves to walk will go further than the man who loves just the destination. Just putting your eyes on just the destination, you keep getting frustrated every time. But if you are just walking, hope you can hear me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. If walking is just a lifestyle to you, before you know, you are just doing your normal thing and you are going to your destination, just like what we do today. For me, talking is like I'm not doing anything serious. You call me to come and speak in a conference. My corporate sales sessions are usually per day, like 8 hours. So I will talk for like 8 hours. And at the end of the 8 hours, it does not look like I've done anything. It's because it's something that I love. But if it was somebody who that was work to him, he would be fagged out. So enjoy the process, not just the destination. Because if you enjoy the process, eventually you get to the destination. Then selling and sales is never ending. Even me, that I'm a sales coach today, training organizations and individuals all across different countries of the world. I still take training sessions, training programs, coaching in sales and marketing. Me, I still pay for coaching programs.
Yeah.
Nobody knows it all. There's a certain American expert that I saw his ads on Facebook yesterday, and he was selling something that really caught my attention. I just bookmarked the page, and I'm going to buy that product pretty soon, and it's going to help me to go further in my sales career. So enjoy the journey, and it is never ending. Yeah, I think I can bring it home, home right there.
Okay, that's amazing. I'm trying to put up um the Instagram,
I sent
handle.
you something on WhatsApp too. I don't know if you saw it.
Okay, I'm gonna check it right now. I'm gonna check it right
Okay.
now, and so guys can follow at Inspiring TK. I believe that's his that's your Instagram handle, isn't it, bro?
Yes, that's my Instagram, Twitter, everywhere.
Okay,
Inspiring thinking.
I've seen stuff. Okay, and then just follow, get content. He has quite a lot going on. Follow me as well. Quite a lot that that we've said today. But the truth of the matter is that we have not even done half of what we wanted to do, because it's like a Pandora box. You keep opening up, and it keeps opening, and it keeps opening, and there are things that for many years people just glossed over and didn't pay particular attention to. And that's why there was now this, everybody that is in sales and communication had to do a lot of work getting back to status quo, because people did not give enough attention to it. And so when someone comes into an organization, he says, "No, I don't want to." Meanwhile, I say something to people all the time, and I want you to write this down, right? I say to people that if you can convince yourself that you don't have what it takes to sell, it means you have what it takes to sell, because you were
Yeah,
able to convince yourself.
yeah,
You were able to convince yourself that you don't have what to sell. The fact that you were able to convince yourself and you believe it with your whole heart that you do not know, you don't have what it takes to be able to make a sale, it's just proof positive that indeed you really do have what it takes. And that just shows that it's the function of your capability, it's not a function of your ability, it's a function of your understanding. And how you communicate that understanding reflects in the kind of response that you get. And so for me, I think it's something that we have to dedicate more time to. Get a mental shift, a paradigm shift in your understanding of sales. Let it turn around. Every single day you sell something, whether it's that you sell your competency, You sell your integrity, you sell your dependability, you sell your trustworthiness. Every day you are selling something, you're communicating something, your availability, your ability to be trusted. You are selling something. So, why then do you think that for a service or a product or a solution, or best of all, an experience, an experience, that you don't have what it takes? So it's just a question of you being able to have the right kind of perspective to it, looking at it and saying, like everything TK has said today, it took it sometimes they come early to you, sometimes you have to go look for it. But when you understand that priority, all right, or people making you their priority, or people understanding the benefits of what you're doing, or people responding to the value that you're communicating, is integral, is pivotal to your survival, and not just your survival, your success and your thriving. You will give more to it. And it's not just, and I'm sure TK must have touched about this, it's if it's not from the heart, and I keep saying this, if it's not standing of heart, you'll struggle. Anytime that there's an identity crisis with a salesman, he can't make a sale. People walk into my office, hundreds, see them every day, whether it's in Lagos, whether Abuja, whether it's in Enugu. People walk, people walk out, and I can tell those that have fire in their eyes and those that are doing this just to get paid at the end. Because one knows the acts, behavior. He knows the behavior of selling, and he comes in and tries to act it out. Actors act. One understands it, and it comes from his heart, which is the place of identity. And so when he's communicating value, he's not communicating. In fact, his passion is contagious. And then he sells. Actors act. And so after they're done acting, you're looking for the real deal. Don't forget that. It's just a shift in perspective, a deeper level of understanding that releases you. Your action is really the last thing. Understanding of what you're doing and what you're expected to do is what releases you to find the right methodology to get it done. I have had such an amazing session today. I mean, I don't know how to thank TK, and I'm seeing a lot of thank you, TK, thank you, TK, thank you, TK, thank you, TK. I told TK that I'm gonna get my hair done like his. Maybe by the next episode of the Connect, I will have TK's hairdo as well. My hair will be like his hair, and I have a pattern by the side. Let's see how that goes. Let's see how that goes. But TK, I want to say massive thank you to you. Thank you for sharing your heart, sharing your value. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
such an amazing session. Let's just look at what everyone is saying here. So Chiamaka, thank you. Thank you. You're becoming quite consistent. Wow, thank you very so much, Sir Anekan, for putting this session up. And TK, an amazing session indeed. My time was well spent. Wish we had more time. God bless you. But thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Who's this? Emmy Deong says thank you, TK, and AU. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Who's next? Marvel is my friend before. Okay, TK, we'll definitely look out for you on your social media handles. It's very good that it's only TK your address, because me, I've denied you here. What do we have? Enjoy every bit of the process, and the destination is sure. Wow. Loads and loads and loads of. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Let me have this from objections are indications that the customer is interested in your product but is not fully convinced they want to spend their hard-earned money on acquiring your product. They have concerns that the product, let's see that the product is okay. Yeah, let me read it from here. The full message is out here. It says, let me start again. Objections. This is from my brother, Triple A, Adeni Adebola Atiba, Dr. Triple A. He says, who is also a sales guru out there in Ibadan and doing great stuff in the Southwest and beyond. Objections are indications that the customer is interested in your product, but is not fully convinced that they want to spend their hard-earned money on acquiring your product. They have concerns that the product presentation has not addressed properly. How do you handle your objections? Number one, assure your prospect that you're here to handle their concerns and help them reach a credible decision. Number two, make fast offers to avoid the lethargic traits of when selling to your prospects. You are not competing with your own competitors, but with everything they spend money on. Do your prospects believe that they cannot do without you? The idea of creating a sense of urgency for your prospect is that they prioritize your product above everything they spend money on. A man with an average product but a great marketing channel is always better than a man with a great product but average channel. That was Vusi Tembakwayo that said that. Ensure that you invest in your sales education as often as you can. Number six, closing. Enjoy the process and not just the destination. Don't just focus on the closing. I think that just summarizes a lot of everything that we've said today. Thank you very much, Triple A. Thank you so much for being able to capture that for us. It was and TK, that was a master class in itself. So I want to say thank you again and again and again. And hopefully we'll look at our calendar and find time as soon as we can and see how we can get back to this. All right, the conversation goes on. All right. So much love, bro. To everybody out there, next week we are going to be talking about leadership. It's a very interesting concept. I stumbled on a young friend of mine, Paul Uda, and a group of friends that were having a live session. I got there. The things that they were sharing with me literally blew my mind, and I gave them an open invitation to have all of them come on the Connect. Guess what? Within 24 hours, they had sent me a message saying, we want to be on the Connect. So we're going to have Paul Uda, Gideon Edem, and a host of others join me next Sunday. We'll be talking about leadership, their perspective on leadership. Remember, these are really young folks. So what's their take on leadership? What do they think about leadership? What are they doing as leaders in their own sphere? What do they understand about building their sphere, understanding that there's one earth but multiple worlds, understanding that there's one assignment, one vision but multiple assignments? Once they're taking all of that, we'll be having that conversation and a lot more around the concept and subject matter of leadership next Sunday, 7 p.m. Don't wait till I come on. Be right here. Until then, we'll keep connected. TK, catch you real soon. I'll talk to you on phone. All right. Cheers, everyone, and good night.
All right. Bye.